facts. The terrorist who gunned down American soldiers blocks away from the White House in an ambush was an Afghan national who was flown into our country by Joe Biden's administration in September 2021 in the chaotic wake of their botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. The tragedy that we just witnessed the day before Thanksgiving is a reminder that untold thousands of terrorists, gang members, and criminals were invited into our country and remain here to this very day. The border is now secure, thanks to President Trump, but the threat in our interior remains real and urgent. These public safety threats are already inside our land, and President Trump was elected on a promise to find and remove them.
Well, that narrative sure is convenient for the administration's policy agenda, but to the extent that any of us actually share an objective reality, most of what Levitt just said was bullshit. Couple crucial points. First, Lochinwall was approved for asylum not by the Biden administration, but actually by the Trump administration in April of this year. Next, he was extensively vetted, more so than most people granted asylum, because Lochinwall was CIA. He worked with U.S. forces during the war in Afghanistan, fighting the Taliban as a member of the agency-backed Zero units. When the U.S. finally lost that war and the Taliban reclaimed power, Lochinwall was one of thousands of Afghans who were vulnerable to reprisal for collaborating with U.S. forces, and it was during the Biden administration that tens of thousands of Afghans who worked with the Pentagon and CIA, including warfighters like Lochinwall, were flown to the U.S. and resettled. They underwent more vetting, and then, like Lochinwall, were eventually approved for asylum. And based on the evidence that has come to light so far, the shooting was not a result of a lack of vetting or migration, as the administration wants us to believe, but instead driven by the same forces behind most mass shootings in America these days: economic anxiety and alienation. A few months before the shooting, Lochinwall requested a move to a location closer to an Afghan community. According to an application reviewed by Rolling Stone, he no longer felt safe where he was resettled in Bellingham, Washington, after he was a victim of an assault that required hospitalization. Lochinwall had lost his work permit and was unable to keep a job and provide for his family, which included 5 kids. The situation appeared to exacerbate his mental illness, which was likely caused by the U.S. invasion of his country. This is from Rolling Stone. Quote, "About a month ago, Lochinwall told his unit mate that his inability to work due to missing immigration paperwork meant his family couldn't afford rent or food. He resorted to borrowing money from friends and former unit members, and during the conversation, he broke down in tears from frustration and desperation," his unit mate said. Lochinwall sought help in June from a CIA program designed to aid zero-unit veterans with immigration issues. Rolling Stone reviewed a screenshot of the group chat in June where zero-unit veterans shared information with a CIA representative about ongoing issues. Lochinwall posted messages asking for help. His last post went unanswered and was deleted by the chat's administrator. So here's a guy who faced sustained combat for years after the U.S. brought war to his country. Fearing for his life afterward, he sought help from the same U.S. government he risked his life to assist in that war. And he was given a flight to Washington State, where he was just forgotten about. It's all kind of like what happens to U.S. troops when they return from combat. It's not all that dissimilar from what's driving the suicide crisis among American war veterans. In all likelihood, Lochinwall wasn't radicalized by some foreign terrorist organization, but instead driven to violence by the neglect of a government that really doesn't give a damn about the people broken by its imperial wars. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.